I never thought I'd be telling this story. Well, looking back now, I wonder how I missed all the signs. But I guess when you're living in what you think is a perfect marriage, you see what you want to see. My name is Isabella, and until 6 months ago, I thought I had it all figured out. Logan and I lived in my grandmother's old apartment, a spacious place in the city that she left to me in her will. Logan worked as a realtor at Bennett & Associates, always coming home with stories about the crazy housing market and clients who wanted swimming pools in impossible places. I kept busy as a construction company manager, which meant we both understood each other's work stress. When people asked how we met, we'd laugh and tell them it was meant to be, a realtor and a construction manager, building our future together. "Honey, the Petersons are coming over tonight," Logan would say, grabbing his coffee before heading out. And Brittany asked if she could bring Tommy again. She couldn't find a sitter. Ah, Brittany. She worked with Logan at the agency, this petite blonde single mom who always seemed to need help with something. I remember the first time she came to one of our gatherings, clutching her little boy's hand like a lifeline. "I'm so sorry to bring him," she'd said, looking apologetic. "I just don't have anyone to watch him." "Don't be silly," I'd replied, watching the toddler toddle around our living room. "He's absolutely welcome here." I spent many evenings watching Tommy while Brittany mingled with our other guests. He was such a sweet kid, always ready with a hug and calling me Auntie Bella. Sometimes I'd catch myself imagining what it would be like to have our own child running around the apartment. That was our one cloud in an otherwise sunny sky. Logan and I had been trying for a baby since our first anniversary. 4 years of marriage, 3 years of actively trying, and nothing. Every month brought new disappointment, but Logan always knew exactly what to say. "It'll happen when it's meant to happen, he'd whisper, holding me close. "And if it doesn't, we can always adopt. There are so many kids who need homes." We rarely fought, and when we did, it was about silly things like whose turn it was to do the dishes, or whether we should paint the guest room blue or green. I never once suspected Logan could be hiding anything from me. Why would I? He was always home for dinner, always answered his phone, always seemed completely devoted to me and our life together. The last normal day of my life started like any other. Logan kissed me goodbye, said he had some paperwork to finish at the office, and promised to pick up Thai food for dinner. I remember thinking how lucky I was, how blessed our life was. I was heating up leftover lasagna when I heard Logan's key in the lock. So much for the promised Thai food, I thought with a smile. But when the door opened, the container of leftovers nearly slipped from my hands. Logan stood in our doorway, but he wasn't alone. In his arms was Tommy, Brittany's son, his little head resting on Logan's shoulder. The boy was clutching his favorite stuffed giraffe, the one I'd given him for his 3rd birthday just 2 months ago. "Logan?" My voice came out barely above a whisper. "What's going on? Where's Brittany?" He didn't answer immediately. Instead, he walked to our couch and sat down, still holding Tommy, who had fallen asleep during what I assumed was the car ride home. The sight was so domestic, so natural, and yet something felt terribly wrong. "We need to talk," Logan finally said, his voice rough. He wouldn't meet my eyes. "You're scaring me." I perched on the edge of our coffee table, facing them both. "Why do you have Tommy? Did something happen to Brittany?" He took a deep breath, and in that moment, I knew whatever he was about to say would change everything. "She died, 2 weeks ago. Cancer." His voice cracked. "She'd been fighting it for the past 6 months. Tommy, he's my son, Isabella." The words hit me like a physical blow. I stood up so quickly, I knocked over a framed photo on the coffee table. The crash of breaking glass made Tommy stir, but he didn't wake up. "What did you just say?" My voice sounded strange to my own ears. "Brittany and it was a long time ago. It didn't last long, I swear. I never loved her, It was a mistake, a stupid mistake." "A long time ago?" I felt like I was watching myself from outside my body as I did the math. "Tommy just turned 3. We were already married." Logan flinched. I know, and I'm so sorry. But Isabella, you have to understand. Understand what? I cut him off. That you cheated on me? That you've been lying to me for years? That I've been babysitting your secret child at our dinner parties? Please keep your voice down, he pleaded, glancing at Tommy. Look, I know this is a shock. But there's more we need to discuss. Tommy's grandparents, they're not in a position to raise him. I'm his father. I need to step up. What exactly are you saying? I've decided to take full custody of Tommy. His grandparents agreed. And I want us, you and me, to raise him together. I stared at my husband of 4 years. Brittany, single mom. She'd never been a single mom at all. She'd been my husband's mistress, raising his child right under my nose, letting me babysit him, accepting my birthday gifts, sitting at my dinner table. No. The word came out quietly at first, then gained strength as I repeated it. No, Logan. Absolutely not. He shifted Tommy to his other shoulder, his face hardening. What do you mean, no? I mean, I'm not doing this. I'm not raising this child. I can't believe you'd even ask me to. Can't believe I'd ask you? Logan's voice took on an edge I'd never heard before. Isabella, you've been taking care of him since he was a baby. You love him, I've seen it. I loved a lie. I was struggling to keep my voice down. I took care of him because I thought he was your coworker's son. Because I felt sorry for what I thought was a single mother. Every moment, every interaction was based on a lie you told me. Tommy stirred in Logan's arms, and he stood up, starting to pace. Look, I know you're upset about how you found out. But think about this rationally. We've been trying to have a baby for years with no success. The casual cruelty of his words felt like a slap. Excuse me? Let's be honest, we don't even know if you can have children. He continued pacing, his voice taking on a persuasive tone that made my skin crawl. Remember all those conversations we had about adoption? About how there are children out there who need homes? Don't you dare, I hissed. Don't you dare use that against me. I'm not using anything against you. I'm being practical. We were going to adopt anyway. Here's a child who already knows us, who already loves you. And he's my son, Isabella, my flesh and blood. As opposed to some strange, unfamiliar child from an orphanage? Is that what you're saying? Well, yes. Logan stopped pacing, his frustration evident. Wouldn't this be better? A child we already know? Think about it, this is the perfect solution for our family. I let out a laugh that sounded more like a sob. Our family? Our family was built on lies, Logan. Every moment of the last 4 years has been a lie. That's not true. I love you, Isabella. I've always loved you. Just not enough to be faithful. Not enough to be honest. I stood up straight, something hardening inside me. I want you to leave. Take your son and go. You can't be serious. Logan's face darkened. This is my home too. No, it's not. My voice was steady now, cold. This apartment belonged to my grandmother. She left it to me in her will. Or did you forget that convenient little detail while you were making your plans? Isabella, be reasonable. I am being reasonable. I'm giving you time to pack your things before I call a lawyer. I walked to our bedroom, my bedroom now, and pulled out his suitcase from under the bed. You have 2 hours. You're making a huge mistake, he called after me. You're letting anger cloud your judgment. Think about Tommy. I am thinking about Tommy, I replied, wheeling the suitcase into the living room. I'm thinking his father is a liar who cheated on his wife and let her babysit his illegitimate child for 3 years without a shred of remorse. I'm thinking he deserves better than that. The next 2 hours passed in a blur of silent packing and muffled conversations as Logan made phone calls, probably to his mother, I thought bitterly. Tommy woke up confused and crying at one point, and I had to leave the room. I couldn't bear to look at him, knowing now why his eyes seemed so familiar. They were Logan's eyes. Finally, Logan stood at the door, suitcase in one hand, sleeping Tommy in the other. He turned to me one last time. "This isn't over, Isabella." I didn't respond. I just closed and locked the door behind them, then slid down to sit on the floor, my whole body shaking. I was still sitting on the floor when my phone started ringing. Logan's mother's name flashed across the screen. For a moment, I considered not answering, but I knew Linda well enough to know she wouldn't stop calling. "How dare you?" Her voice hit me before I could even say hello. "How dare you throw my son and grandson out on the street like common criminals?" I pressed my fingertips to my temples, feeling a headache building. "Linda. Don't you Linda me. I've never been so disappointed in anyone in my entire life." She was practically screeching now. "What happened to the vows you took? For better or for worse, do those words mean nothing to you? You want to talk about vows?" My voice rose to match hers. "How about forsaking all others? Did Logan forget that part when he was sleeping with his coworker? My son is going through a tragedy." Linda's voice cracked with emotion. "The mother of his child just died, Isabella. Where's your compassion? Where's your humanity?" I let out a bitter laugh. "My humanity? What about Logan's humanity when he watched me babysit his secret child for 3 years? What about his humanity when he let me comfort Brittany about being a single mother when he knew the truth?" "You're being selfish," Linda spat. "All you can think about is yourself. This isn't about you, it's about an innocent child who just lost his mother. No, this is absolutely about me." I stood up, pacing the apartment as I spoke. "Your son cheated on me. He lied to me for years. And you know what's really interesting? If Brittany hadn't died, I bet he would have kept right on lying. Did you know too?" There was a telling pause on the other end of the line. Oh my God, my legs went weak. "You knew this whole time." "Isabella, please." Her voice turned placating. "Try to understand. What good would it have done to tell you? The past is the past. What matters now is that sweet little boy needs a mother." "Stop," I cut her off. "Just stop. You don't get to play the sympathy card now. Not after years of lying to my face. These things happen, Isabella." Linda's voice took on a reasonable tone that made my blood boil. "Men make mistakes. The important thing is that Logan loves you. He chose you. And that little boy needs you. You've always wanted a child. I'm divorcing your son. I've already made up my mind." "Isabella, don't be hasty. Think about what you're doing. Think about Tommy." "Goodbye, Linda." I hung up the phone and blocked her number in one swift motion. Then I slid down the wall again, hugging my knees to my chest as the tears finally came. After blocking Linda's number, I did what any daughter would do in a crisis. I called my parents. My hands were shaking as I dialed, but I knew Mom and Dad would understand. "Hi, sweetie," Mom's voice was warm, and I nearly broke down at the sound of it. "Linda just called us." My heart sank. "Mom, let me explain." "Isabella, darling, you're overreacting." Her tone shifted from warm to lecturing in an instant. "These things happen in marriages. You need to be more understanding." I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. "Overreacting? Mom, Logan cheated on me. And? Men stray sometimes, Isabella. It's not the end of the world." She sighed like I was being particularly dense. "The important thing is he came clean and wants to make it right." "Came clean?" I was practically choking on the words. "He only told me because Brittany died. He had no choice." "Well, maybe this is a blessing in disguise." Mom's voice took on that practical tone she used when she thought she was being helpful. "Let's be honest, sweetheart, you haven't been able to give him children. At least now you have a chance to be a mother." The casual cruelty of her words left me breathless. "Did you really just call me infertile?" "I'm being realistic. You're not getting any younger, and here's a child who needs a mother. You should be grateful for the opportunity." "Grateful?" I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Grateful that my husband cheated on me and hid his illegitimate child for 3 years? Oh, stop being so dramatic. Mom clucked her tongue. Almost every husband cheats at some point. You don't throw away a marriage over it. Think about that poor little boy, he just lost his mother. I can't believe this. I ran a hand through my hair, tugging at the roots in frustration. My own mother is telling me to just accept that my husband cheated on me? I'm telling you to be practical. If you divorce Logan over this, I'll take this apartment away from you. Let Logan and the baby have their. That apartment was left to me by Grandma. I cut her off, my voice ice cold. You have no say in what happens to it. Isabella Marie Thompson, don't you dare take that tone with me. I am your mother. And this is my life, my marriage, my home. I took a deep breath. And my decision. I'm divorcing Logan. If you do this, don't expect any support from us, Mom snapped. Your father and all our relatives are on Logan's side. We raised you better than to abandon a child in need. No, you raised me to have self-respect. Or at least I thought you did. I felt eerily calm now. Goodbye, Mom. I ended the call and immediately blocked her number too. Then I went through my contacts and blocked my father, my sister, my aunts and uncles, anyone who might try to pressure me into changing my mind. 3 days later, I made the mistake of checking Facebook. Logan's post was the first thing I saw. Never thought I'd be writing this, but my wife of 4 years just threw me and my 3-year-old son out onto the street. My boy just lost his mother to cancer, and now we're basically homeless because my wife refuses to show any compassion. We're currently staying in a hotel, trying to figure out our next move. I guess you never really know someone until tragedy strikes. The comments were exactly what you'd expect. How could she be so heartless? That poor little boy. What kind of woman throws out a child who just lost his mother? I slammed my laptop shut, but not before seeing that he'd tagged mutual friends and family members. My phone started buzzing with text messages almost immediately. The notifications kept coming, splitting pretty evenly between support and condemnation. I ignored them all, too busy remembering something I'd almost forgotten. The prenup. Logan and I had signed it 4 years ago, laughing the whole time. My grandmother had insisted she wouldn't leave me the apartment unless I protected it legally. We'd added all sorts of ridiculous clauses just for fun, treating it like a game. Except one clause wasn't funny anymore. I dug through my filing cabinet until I found it. There it was, in black and white. In the event of proven infidelity, the cheating spouse agrees to pay damages of $100,000 to the wronged party. We'd joked about it at the time. Better not catch you cheating, I'd teased Logan. As if I'd ever, he'd replied, signing with a flourish. I took photos of the prenup and texted them to Logan, along with screenshots of his Facebook post where he'd admitted Tommy was his son. His response came within minutes, "You can't be serious." "Dead serious," I typed back. "You admitted to the affair publicly. Tommy's birth certificate will prove the timing. The prenup is legally binding." My phone rang almost immediately, Linda again, calling from a different number. "You money-grubbing snake," she shrieked as soon as I answered. "How dare you try to extort my son? He's a single father now." "No, he's a cheater who got caught," I replied calmly. "And everything I'm doing is perfectly legal. Your son signed the agreement." "It was a joke." "You know it was a joke." "The notary who witnessed it didn't think it was a joke. Neither did the lawyer who drew it up." I examined my nails, feeling strangely detached. Maybe Logan should have thought about consequences before he cheated. "You heartless, mercenary bitch," Linda spat. "Is this what it's all about? Money?" "No, Linda. It's about justice. But the money's a nice bonus." I hung up and blocked her new number, then called my lawyer. A week into the separation, I couldn't shake the feeling that I was missing something. Everyone kept talking about poor Logan, struggling to raise Tommy alone, but something didn't add up. I needed to hear from the one group of people who might actually know the truth, Brittany's parents. I called my friend who'd worked with Brittany at a previous job. And an hour later, I had the number for Mr. and Mrs. Anderson. My hand trembled as I dialed, unsure what reception to expect. After all, I was the wife of the man their daughter had an affair with. "Hello, Mrs. Anderson? This is Isabella Thompson, Logan's wife." There was a pause, and I braced myself for anger or hostility. Instead, I heard a gentle sigh. "Isabella, yes, we've been hoping you might call." Mrs. Anderson's voice was surprisingly warm. "I'm so sorry you had to find out about everything this way. I just need to understand some things," I admitted. "About Tommy's future." "Ah," Mrs. Anderson said softly. "You're wondering about the arrangements." "We would have taken Tommy ourselves," Mr. Anderson added, "but Brittany was very specific in her will. She left everything, her savings, her house, her life insurance, to Tommy, with Logan as his guardian. She wanted to make sure they'd be taken care of." I felt like I'd been doused with cold water. "Everything?" "Yes, dear. The house alone is worth close to $500,000. Plus her savings and the insurance payout. Logan and Tommy will be very comfortable." The pieces clicked into place with sickening clarity. Logan had been playing the penniless single father while sitting on a small fortune. And Linda had known. She'd been trying to manipulate me into dropping the lawsuit, counting on me not finding out about Brittany's will. "Mrs. Anderson," I said slowly, "thank you. You've helped me more than you know." "Isabella," she called just before I hung up. "For what it's worth. Brittany regretted what she did to you." At the end, she talked about coming clean, making things right. But Logan, he always insisted on keeping it quiet. Of course he did. Why admit to one lie when you could just keep piling on more? I ended the call and sat in my quiet apartment, feeling more certain than ever about my decision to divorce Logan. He hadn't changed at all. He was still the same calculating liar he'd always been, using Tommy to manipulate everyone's sympathies while hiding Brittany's inheritance. Well, let him keep his secrets and his money. I just wanted out. The court date arrived on a crisp autumn morning. I sat with my lawyer on one side of the courtroom, while Logan and his attorney took the other. He'd shaved and worn his best suit, clearly going for the sympathetic single father image. "Your Honor," Logan's lawyer began, "my client is a recently widowed father, struggling to provide for his 3-year-old son. This vindictive lawsuit from his estranged wife threatens to destroy what little stability he's managed to create." I watched Logan hang his head, playing his part perfectly. But this time, we were ready. "If I may, Your Honor," my lawyer interrupted, standing with a stack of documents. "We have evidence that Mr. Thompson's claims of financial hardship are significantly misrepresented." The next hour was like watching a house of cards collapse. My lawyer methodically presented the documentation from Brittany's parents, the will, the property deed, the life insurance policy, all of it. With each revelation, Logan's face grew paler. "So, Mr. Thompson," the judge peered over her glasses, "you inherited a house worth $480,000, savings of $175,000, and a life insurance payout of $250,000, yet you've been claiming financial hardship?" Logan squirmed in his seat. "Your Honor, those funds are for my son's future." "Your son's future seems well provided for," the judge cut him off. "What concerns me is the pattern of deception evident in this case." The ruling came swiftly. The prenuptial agreement was upheld, and Logan was ordered to pay the $100,000 infidelity clause. The judge also had choice words about his attempts to mislead the court about his financial situation. As we left the courthouse, my phone buzzed with a text from my mother. "I hope you're happy with yourself. You've destroyed your family over pride." I deleted the message without responding. My parents hadn't spoken to me directly since I filed for divorce, communicating only through disappointed texts and third-party messages about how cruel and unforgiving I was being. They'd chosen their side, and apparently, honesty wasn't on it. That was 6 months ago. Life has settled into a new normal now. The apartment feels bigger, quieter, but also cleaner somehow, like finally airing out a room that had been closed up too long. Sarah, my mutual friend with Logan, keeps me updated about Logan and Tommy, even though I've never asked. They're living in Brittany's house now. Tommy's started preschool. Logan's dating again. Sometimes, late at night, I think about Tommy and feel a pang of something. Not regret exactly, but sadness for what could have been in a different world, one where trust wasn't broken and lies weren't told. But then I remember all the deception, all the manipulation, and I know I made the right choice. I got a card from Linda last week, some long-winded plea about forgiveness and family and moving forward. I added it to the growing pile of unopened mail from various family members who suddenly want to bridge the gap. They all talk about forgiveness like it's a simple choice, like trust isn't as fragile as glass and twice as sharp when it breaks. The money from the lawsuit sits untouched in a separate account. I'm alone now, yes. But I'm free. Free from lies, free from manipulation, free from the suffocating weight of other people's expectations. And in that freedom, I'm finally starting to breathe again. Some people call it cruel, walking away from a child who'd lost his mother. But sometimes the kindest thing you can do, for yourself and for others, is to remove yourself from a situation built on lies. Tommy has his father, his grandparents, and a secure future. And I have my truth. That's enough.